Hello, Terry here, Hot Range Fabrication. Welcome to another series. Got my latest customer in here with this lovely 71 Chevelle. This thing is absolutely killer. Me and my buddy Mike from MT Auto Electric are going to do some wiring and put in a Terminator X. This thing has a GTO LS2 in it with the stock computer, so we're going to go through and redo all of the wiring and a little bit of fabrication, and we will take you along the way. So thanks for joining. So this is the car we're working on. The thing is super clean. Paint job is so nice on this thing. 71. Interior is nice. Automatic in it. So it's already a super clean car. We're going to make it a little bit nicer. It's got a factory computer for an LS2 out of a GTO. So we're going to swap that out for a Holley Terminator X and swap out the whole wiring harness on it. Make it nice. There's the motor in it, like I said, LS2. It's pretty clean. There's a couple little things that right off the bat I noticed. This right here, a little cheesy. They just have it stuffed, it's plastic stuffed into a rubber hose here. And I could feel underneath there that it's just kind of stuffed in there. Let's see how that's kinked, so I was sucking in some dirty air. I'll make a tube for that, and then I'm going to make some metal tubes for the radiator hoses. That one is kind of kinked on the bottom, so I'm going to make some metal hoses, run those nice. There's really nothing wrong with the wiring on here. It's just kind of dated. I don't really like this old plastic sheathing and stuff, so we're going to put some different sheet. Well, the Terminator X wiring harness comes already nice, so we will clean that all up, but the whole car is going to get rewired. So it's going to take about a week or so. My friend Mike from MT Auto Electric's coming down, and we will film this out for you guys. Got vintage air in there. Like how they ran the heater hoses through the fender well here. Got tons of room, so that's super clean. I like that a lot. Like it a lot. So yeah, that's our series. Next project. Hope you guys enjoy it. First thing down on the Chevelle was to make a little air cleaner pipe. I gotta move this little bracket over. But the air cleaner used to be over here, which was not centered, which drives me nuts. So now it's centered in there, and powder coat it black, make it all nice. Fits pretty good. So this is super easy to make. Just got a 3.5 inch 45 degree, cut it, weld it, bada bing bada boom, piece of cake. So that'll be nice once that's done. What he had on here was this, and this is literally the way it was stuffed into the boot going into the intake. So there was a big old air gap right there, which was kind of strange because whoever built this car did a fantastic job. I mean, this thing is killer, and then that's the first thing you see, and just so cheesy, but it's done, so that's cool. Then I'm going to start working on the hoses, the metal hoses. So I got me some U-bends. Got a whole bunch of different sizes over here. 1.5 inch for the top and 1 3/4 for the bottom. So this is basically going to go right here. So I'll cut it and then take one of these pieces and extend it out, and then just keep building this down. Hopefully this will be enough. I got 2 of these, so should stretch all the way. And then kind of weird because all the sizes are different on the outlet and the inlet over here. So they make these adapters. This particular one is what's that say, 1.5, or yeah, 1 3/4 and 1.5. So 1 3/4 is on here, and then 1.5 is on here. So that's going to match up nicely. And then this one is 1.5 to 1 1/4. So the water pump is 1 1/4. And then the bottom one is going to be a little bit bigger. That's 1 3/4. So that'll go down there. Oh, something like that. Obviously cut it, do whatever I have to do. Actually, this piece probably go in there like that. And then this one is 1 3/4 already. So I got a straight, that'll connect that. And then the bottom down here, I don't know if you can see, that's kind of dark, but that one is 2 inch. So I got a 2 inch to 1 3/4. So I literally have 4 different sizes to make these, but it's going to turn out pretty nice. So I have to get them all welded and pressure tested and throw them in the powder coating oven, and voila, got some custom radiator hoses. All right, so we are going to start working on this thing today with,
Good morning.
look who it is.
Man, all the way up from Sholo.
How was the drive?
The drive was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Had the heater running in the morning.
Heater.
Kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And air conditioning's blasting right now. It's hot
Wish I
here.
had a heater running.
It's hot here.
It's hot.
Look at this thing.
Yeah.
We got a project coming up.
We got
What is this, a 1971 Chevelle?
71 Chevelle. We got about a week's worth of work, I suppose.
Yeah. It's a clean car though. So we're just going to do some updates on it. Clean up some things that need to be cleaned up. But this car's tip-top shape right now.
So this is what we got. You have to install all of this. Well, we'll split it up into twos. You install that. I'll install this.
Yep, so we're going to upgrade his wiring to a Ron Francis wiring kit. It's got some factory stuff in there that could need a little adjustments, but it's pretty clean. Whoever built this car did a really nice job. But we'll update it to a Ron Francis and clean up some of the aftermarket stuff he's got in there.
I've never seen a Ron Francis.
It's a nice kit. So it's custom built specifically for the 71 Chevelle in this case.
Oh, nice.
So it's similar to, it's in the wheelhouse of like Painless and American Wire.
All these wires labeled like painless.
Yep, wires.
Oh, yeah.
Wires are all labeled. Actually, you can read them better than Painless, which is good for my old eyes.
Oh yeah.
They're nice and big letters on there.
All of that.
And we're gonna put
go
some.
all up in all of that.
We'll put some power door locks in it. You want some power door locks on a little remote. So
Oh,
we're
cool.
gonna put some power door locks in it, and then upgrade his engine harness to a Terminator X system. So he has some more programmability to it, some tunability.
So a nice thing about the Terminator is it also runs the transmission. Got a 4L60E in it. So yeah, there's a little tube I made already. Okay, I'll slap a little powder coat on it, but we gotta take it all apart before we can put it together. So I guess we'll get started. What's our game plan?
I'm gonna start in the back, and you're gonna start in the front.
Start in the back.
Yep, I'm gonna clean up all that stereo stuff back there, and then start stripping wires to run the new Ron Francis stuff back to the back. So
I'll meet you in the middle.
we'll meet in the middle.
All right. So one thing we're probably not going to do is have red heat shrink showing on a black wire and stuff just screwed into the fender. That's probably not ground down paint.
Wow, and it's painted, yeah, it's beautifully painted.
I'm going to get rid of this big old fuse box out here. And just some of the add-on stuff that's just kind of hokey looking. So we'll get all that cleaned up. We'll take you along for the ride. All right, we've been on it for 15 minutes, maybe 20. This is where we're at already. Pulled the inner fender liners. And as you can see, tons of stuff underneath there. It's actually where the factory computer's at. Oh, this is terrible. Sorry, folks. So factory computer and a bunch of harness in there, all that crap's underneath there. So that's all coming out.
Coming out.
Battery trays coming out. Starting to mark everything. Air box over here. Fuse box coming out. So they did a cool job. I like the way they tucked everything behind there. And we're going to do the same thing, but just clean it up. So yeah, that's where we're at already.
Rocking and rolling.
We're in the destruction stage, ripping and tearing. So as per usual, when we're taking cars apart and looking at some of the wiring, this is one of the biggest things that we see. So they had a ground right on these little holes right here. As you can see, there's no paint ground off there at all. So they had an eyelet grounded to that. They had a line lock in here, which is a solenoid that has a fair amount of amperage. And they had the ground right there. So once again, no paint. So it's literally relying on just a couple little teeth of the screw to ground that solenoid out. So I'm assuming that a lot of the stuff was added on to this car that somebody else might have done. I don't know, because the original builders seem to have done a fairly decent job, but when you come across grounds like that, that's just so terrible. It's just asking for a mistake. So they took the whole entire wiring harness from the GTO and wired the whole car with it, which is kind of cool. But it's got this gigantic fuse box that was stuffed under there. All these wires, so those are running everywhere. So that's all coming out. And then on this side, they tucked the computer back in here, which is freaking awesome. Looks really clean. And this was the original computer wires, which is, I mean, it was all hidden, but kind of hokey. They could have taped that up a little bit nicer. But yeah, it's getting it ripped apart. Some of this stuff is, it's kind of cool. They put the heater hoses in there. So they will continue to rip all this junk apart. See, it's got some nice coilovers, tubular control arms. At one time it had chrome headers. That's the silliest thing, is to put chrome headers on any vehicle, because they instantly get tarnished. Unless maybe those are stainless steel, but it looks like it's just tarnished chrome. But yeah, it's kind of a cool car. Slotted discs. No, that's not good. They didn't bend these little ears down, so the pad's actually able to kind of slap around in there. That could cause some noise, especially a little bit of clicking noise, so I'll probably fix that. Okay, progress is being made. See all the wires hanging out the bottom. Pretty much have most of the stuff gutted here. And then that nice trunk area is all gutted. I'm going to clean all those wires up, make them nice. So kind of a mess. And then As they say, the creme de la creme.
The piece de la résistance. We found a rat's nest. We got some work to do now.
Oh my gosh. Is it too late to rebid?
That was all hidden before and didn't look so bad until we
Jeez.
started peeling in.
Look at that.
But that's all coming out, and that's where the Ron Francis will come in and clean all this up real nice.
Can Ron actually come in and do it instead of us?
Right, I need to take a nap.
Oh my heavens, that's terrible.
It's what we do.
Learn to be an electrician, they said.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, they said. Actually, this is pretty fun, but it's a little overwhelming when you take it apart and you see that.
It's hard to work with.
What you think about that there, Mikey?
Well, I think, I mean, you got to have all these wires, but it's nice when they're all loomed up and going the right way. It makes it easy to work on. So that's what we're after. We're going to clean all this up, put connectors on it, make it so the dash can come in and out if it ever needed to, and make it nice. Nice.
So we got 3 hours in demolition and probably a week and a half in installation.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, it's lunchtime. All right, we're about done with day one. This is what we got going on so far. Just started kind of laying this harness in there. Obviously, not done. This is the Terminator harness. We're going to put the computer pretty much back where it was, back in that little hole right there. Got some more wires to run and clean up and get kind of tucked down in there and harnessed up. So that part's easy. I guess the biggest progress would be in here. Got that complete rat's nest of wires out of here. And Mike is mounting the fuse block down there. And then so this goes to the vintage air. We got to clean all that up still. Got the center console tore out. There's a bunch of wires going in there. So yeah, getting her going. We pulled out this engine harness, and then this whole thing was the fuse box and wires, and then got one more back yonder. That whole thing, which I think a lot of that, well, that was the fuse box that they used, and BCM and stuff like that. So this is all the junk that we pulled out and then we're not going to use, and going to put a much cleaner system in there. So that's where we're at so far. All right, day 2. Got a nice little sleepy sleep, and we're going to start putting all this stuff in. Here's all the different wires. It's kind of cool that they break it up into different sections. So here's the turn signal, brake light, horn, your dash gauges, headlight switch. So it's kind of broken up into different little sections. And there's quite a few of them on there. You can see all that stuff. So even comes with a new headlight switch that's more modern and built a little bit better. And Mike has the fuse box mounted. You can see we still got a little bit of a mess, but that big old chunk of stuff that we pulled out of there yesterday,
Making progress.
making progress. So that's the location. So pretty cool. So what are you attacking today?
We still need to identify all the wiring that's going back to the back so I can extract that and install the new Ron Francis wiring to the rear lights, finish labeling everything, and then we can start installing it and make it work. It's a little bit of a process.
A little bit of a process indeed. So that goes under the wires going to the back, goes in the carpet in the middle.
I found them under here. So there's quite a bit more than it seems like there should be. So I just need to figure out what all they do.
Gotcha.
And then make it integrate with the Ron Francis.
So you're ripping all this out still?
Yep. And then, of course, he has a aftermarket stereo and amp and woofers.
Oof.
So we're gonna rewire all the stereo stuff that was already in there and make it all clean. And then this is all the stuff that's coming out for the rear tail lights.
All right.
Not much stuff back here though. So it's pretty simple.
Insulation and wood strips. Interesting. Not sure I would have done it like that.
Yeah, it's custom.
Okay. Well, I guess we will move forward and show the progress as we go. I'm starting on the lower radiator hose. So it's actually a pretty simple process. It's kind of like a little puzzle. Like I mentioned before, just have these U-bends right here. And you just kind of start cutting and laying them out. So here's some of the chunks that I've been cutting off. So I use this little stand that I made. You can get these online at quite a few different places, but it turns your little handheld bandsaw into a bench mounted bandsaw, and it's absolutely perfect for cutting these little slices. I have a foot pedal down there and variable speed. I just run it in there and you could do whatever angle you want. It's very, very accurate. You know, I cut tiny, thin little pieces like that. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, this one's about ready to weld. As you can see, pretty close. I could actually make that fit, but I'm going to trim just a tiny bit more off of it and then take it together and it's finished. And then I just got to powder coat it. And then the top one's the exact same process. Got my rubbers on there already, so this one will go down and then kick up a little bit. Piece of cake. So the lower one is done. Just got to powder coat it. Looks like it fits pretty good. Now I'm starting on the upper one here. I got 1/2 made. And then starting to work on the other half over here. Just welded it up. A little toasty still. That's going to go in there. Like that. And then just got to connect the two pieces.
Hey, are you filming?
Yep.
You want to see something funny back here?
Is it your face?
Yeah. My embarrassed face.
I always like to see something funny. Oh.
So I was working on trying to find the fuel pump and sending unit wires, which were underneath this subwoofer box, but I found them.
Oh, let me get the light. Hold on a sec. It's kind of
Get
dark.
a light.
It's like a dungeon in there.
It's dungeness.
Or do we want to keep it in the dark?
Well, the preface is it worked. You know,
Of course.
it always
Worked for
works. but-
7 years.
So these were underneath the subwoofer box. I found them. So this is the fuel pump wire and the sending unit wire.
That's okay.
And this little guy right here, which is screwed into a severely undercoated, not ground up.
Oh my gosh.
That's the ground for the fuel pump. And look, it's loose even. This is not even tight.
Oh my gosh.
So it's kind of crazy that
How did this run?
his fuel pump was even at least working properly.
That's a small wire too for a fuel pump, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the wire gauge size here. I don't know what fuel pump it has in it. If we knew that, then I could make sure that the wires were gauged properly.
You getting all itchy with this insulation?
Yeah, it's got nice insulation for sound deadening.
Hmm.
So yeah, thought that was kind of cool.
Got some
kinda
some R12 back here.
cute. Yeah.
We weren't really planning on ripping the whole car apart, but I guess we have to, huh?
Got to now.
At this point, when you keep finding stuff like that. Got the back seat all ripped out now. Oh boy. Good thing we YouTubed this last night so we could figure out how to put it back together. All right. Carry on.
Keep on trucking.
I'm going to keep doing the mechanical stuff, the fun stuff. So yeah, got this pipe done. Forgot to show you guys this. I set this all up. This is to put little, a little raised bubble, I guess. I don't know what you call it, bead roll in there to keep the hose from popping off. I was going to show you how it works, and then I forgot to set it up. Guess I could do that now with a little piece of scrap. Hold, please. Okay, so let's get a little piece of scrap over here. So yeah, if you just leave it flat, you know, it has a potential of blowing off. So this is really good for like turbo pipes and stuff. This thing's a little cumbersome. I built it myself, and it really should have had gears in here because I have to use 2 ratchets, but I don't use it very often, and it actually works really good. So I'm okay with that. Really kind of almost a 2-man job. I have an actual bead roller, so I just use the wheel off of that, and then I made my bottom one. So I'll just put a little tension on there. And then the old double ratchet trick. And it's easier if you have 2 people to kind of hold it, especially if it's a longer piece. So I try and put the bead on there before I make the whole piece. There you go. So that turned out pretty good. But basically just made this with a bunch of scrap pieces I had laying around. And there it is. Actually pretty good. Yeah, I got a little crooked. So if somebody was holding that, I wouldn't have done that, but still won't affect it. Once you put the clamp on there, it'll hold it on there. So not too shabby, if I say so myself. Alrighty, so as you can see, those line up pretty good. And then all you have to do is fill this little section in here with one of these. So if I do this just right, it should go in there pretty easily. It's always tricky to get the angles. Kind of have to eyeball a little bit and work up to it. So I like to leave them long and then chop them off. So it's actually going to work out pretty good. Oh yeah, right there. Alright, so that's pretty much exactly the size it needs to be. So like I said, I'll leave it just a teeny bit long. And then kind of grind it down a little bit and work my way up to it. A little long. So when you're doing the bends like this, you have to make sure that it's exactly straight. If you cut it at a little bit of an angle within the circle, then you're going to have a oval instead of a circle. Does that make sense? So it's got to be as straight as you can. They actually have gauges that you can buy that sets this in there, and it has the saw blade perfectly straight. I can usually eyeball it and get pretty close. Okay, so a little long, left a little meat on the bone. Let's see how it does. Yeah, it's going to work out perfect. It's skosh long, so I will trim it up a little bit and fit it in there. So it's handy to have some sort of a disc sander. This one is really nice. I got this from Blue Point years and years ago, and it's held up really good since then. Put it on here. That way you can really flatten out the edge, get a nice square finish. Looks pretty darn good. I think it's going to work. Alright, so I lay these in there. Kind of hard to get my whole TIG welder over here to tack weld these. So what I usually do is just mark it here. Well, that's going to be perfect. So I'll mark it on here and then take it over there and tack weld it and then see how it fits. So what I do is just line it up, and then I'll put 2 marks on there instead of just 1. And then when I take it to the welding table, I can line up both those marks. One of them you can get off a little bit, but 2, it's a lot easier. Okay, so I use the disc sander so I can make sure that it's a really good flush fit. See, it fits really nice. I hold it up in the light and I see if I can see any light between there with a little air gap, and I don't. So now I'm going to do just a little tack on here. And I learned this watching some YouTube. You get a nice tight fit. Just give the pedal a little blast, it will usually tack it up. And of course it didn't do it that time because I'm on film, so why would it do it? I'll put a little filler rod in there. Okay, that's all it takes. Just a little tack. Don't weld this one up yet because I gotta see if it's gonna fit. Okie dokie, let's see here. Yeah, it's pretty dang close. Now I gotta trim it just a teeny bit. Oh well, yeah, that's like right on the money. Tiny little gap on the bottom, so all you have to do is just angle that a skosh. And she should fit. Alright, that's good. I think it's gonna work. Let me get my light going here. There we go. Is that better? Okay. Line this up. Do my double mark. Actually, my double mark didn't work out so good. Oh, that's better. There we go. I like that better. Okay, we'll go tack this up real quick. Well, boys, it's all done. Ish. Still got a powder coat, but did a pressure test on it. Capped off both ends and then put some air in here. And she's holding. So that's good. So I'll powder coat it and it'll be finished. Turned out pretty nice. And then there's a perfect amount of room for the air intake that I made through here. Very, very happy. Well, we got the hoses done. Looking very nice. Got them powder coated. Fit perfect. And even got the little hose for the crossover that goes to the throttle body. Kind of rerouted some of the wiring. Still not laid out correctly or finalized, but it's kind of where it's going to go. We got covers that go over a lot of this, so. And then the harness is going to go down there, and then the computer back in that corner. So coming along, looks pretty good. And then Mr. Mike got is getting the trunk buttoned up. So we're putting some sound deadener back here, and he's got this all redone and loomed up. Looks nice. So we got to get a ground distribution block that we're going to mount underneath so we don't have crap like that little wire screwed to the undercoating and that ground right there. So we'll have a nice ground distribution block on the frame itself, and then all the grounds will go to that, and all these wires will get cleaned up still, but you can see this one here is all harnessed up where it was just wires before. So that's looking good. So we got to keep raising it up and taking it down, and raising it up and taking it down. So we're gonna still have all this to attack, but he wants to button up the rear and then button up the front and basically work towards the middle. So obviously all these wires need to be done. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, so that's going to do it for part one. I think there's enough footage on here. I'm actually not 100% sure because I'm going to download it and edit it tonight, but is going to be a couple of parts on this series because there's a lot to shoot. So hope you enjoyed that part, and stay tuned for the next probably 2 more videos on this one.